So the final thing is to do a skin bind for the mesh. Currently, when I move my controls, the controls come along, the joints come along, but the joints are not influencing the mesh. So first things first, let's make the joints visible. So just like before with the skeleton, the human skeleton, same system. Basically, you select the root joint and the skin or the mesh that you want to be influenced with the skin bind. However, we have some extra joints in the arm, and if you make a production ready rig, you would have a similar setup in the legs, so FK, IK, and then of course the skin bind. And as the name already suggests, only the purple joints, and for the lower arm also the green ones, only the purple and the green ones are supposed to affect that rig or the mesh. However, since the yellow and the blue, the FK and IK joints are also part of the skeleton, if I do this, select the mesh, go in my bind skin and do joint hierarchy, they will be part of that weighting. So that will be a little bit disruptive. A alternative approach would be to select every single joint that this skin bind should affect. So that will be literally going in here, clicking on that, and then selecting all these joints that you want and skip the ones that you don't want. And then instead of joint hierarchy in here, you go with selected joints. Okay, but this is a bit cumbersome, so I go with joint hierarchy. I literally just select the COG joint and the mesh, and then apply and close with our default settings. We could colorize the joints here at this point. I think that would be not such a bad idea. So you can see the colors of the joints have changed because of that option. That might help a little bit organizing things. So now the FK and the IK joint chain has been part of this skin bind, and if I move my arm now, this will happen. And the reason is because these two joint chains are still in here, and this joint chain is holding that arm here a little bit in place. It's closer to this one because there's two joint chain here actually that influences it, the purple one and the yellow one. So it's closer to this area here, but not 100% as it should be. So instead of selecting single joints and assigning them to the skin bind, I just go in here and remove the ones that I don't want. So I'm selecting that group and the yellow one, so the blue and the yellow one. Click on hierarchy to make sure that all these joints are also selected. And then in skin bind or skin edit influence, I remove the influence. If you go in the option box, you see it needs a skin cluster. So select the skin geometry as well. So shift select the geometry. Maya goes through all of these objects and checks which one has the skin cluster. So this is the one. And the other ones are, of course, the joints that need to be removed. So click on remove or just apply. And immediately our skin sits better on the actual skin bind joints. We do this, repeat the process for the other arm as well. So here they are hidden, that's okay. You select them both, the blue and the yellow one, click on hierarchy, shift select the mesh, and remove. So that's better. So I'm getting this here into a pose. And also let's hide these unnecessary joint chains. Okay, so for the weight painting, this is the approach. First you have to select the mesh, then you go to skin, paint skin weights, option box. The option box opens up this dialog. Could be a floating dialog, or in my case I docked it next to the outliner just so it's a bit orderly here. You can select the joint in this long list here. All the joints that are affecting that setup are listed here. Speaking of which, you could, in theory, remove all the end joints. Yeah, let's do that. So that's this one, on the thumb, this guy, that, this, and this. Not too many, so that didn't take too long. Let's do the same thing. Shift select the mesh, of course. Skin, edit influence, remove influence. So let's go back to our paint tool, and as you can see, the end joints, so J and T, E, all these ones are now gone. So saves us a little bit space here in the list, which is already quite long. Okay, let's start with the head, because that's rather simple. Select the head joint, and you don't have to find a joint here in the list. You can also right click on a joint and then select influence. That basically selects that joint. It's in that list instead of having to go there. Okay. So I'm selecting that head joint. Then I want to mask the head for the next operation. So I go and select, which lets me select vertices that I'm going to influence. I can either select them like this, or I can just double click a point and then it selects all the points of that watertight mesh. So since our character is modeled like a robot, so individual objects which are not welded together, that's why this method works pretty well. So with that selection, we go back to our paint tool. Now whatever I do with this paint tool now is limited to the selected vertices. I cannot paint here anymore, but I can paint here. And instead of painting, I just flood the whole area. Flood is like paint bucket. So I flood this area with replace value 1. Okay, so replace is not taking in account what's already there, it just simply overrides it. So there, 100% influence. We do the same for the neck. First select the neck, then click on select, double click the mesh on the neck, which basically selects the whole thing. Go back to paint mode and flood it. Repeat the process for the chest. select, double click on the chest, go back to paint mode, flood it. Select the arm, select friends of influence, go to select mode, select the arm and shift select the ball here. Go back to paint and flood. For the lower arms a bit more complicated because we have multiple joints here that influence certain areas. I'm starting with the main joint here, the lower arm joint, and do the same thing as before. So first I select the arm and shift select the ball, and then I flood it with 1. That means the other joints have no influence on this whatsoever. But we can change that. First I will do the wrist. And you can either choose the purple one or the green one, but stay consistent. Don't have a little bit on the green one and a little bit on the purple one. Basically they are, one of them is obsolete. I'm choosing the bigger one, so the pink one. And do the same thing. Select the ball. A bit hard to select here, so I'll go a bit closer. And I'm going to select the hand as well. I will fix that in a minute, because that area should actually be more influenced by these joints here, the finger joints. But for now I'm going to give it 100% to the wrist. Okay, so let's have a look what that looks like. So if you move things around, it doesn't look so bad. However, if we turn on wireframe, we can see no twist whatsoever. So let's change that. Select the mesh again, go back into our paint tool, select the influence on the green joint. Make a selection mask for the arm, go back to the paint tool, and now I'm going to just paint in this area. Maybe I make my brush a bit smaller. So B, hold down B, and then left click left and right to change the brush size. So I'm going to just drag a ring around here, maybe this one too. Okay, maybe this one too. So everything that is near that joint. Do the same for the next joint. So let's also make sure that it's the right one here, twist. And that one influences this area all the way to the front. Okay, so you might want to make this a bit bigger to make sure that you paint the vertices that are hidden inside. Okay, now you can see already that the transition is really hard, and let's switch to shaded mode. Yeah, so it's very sharp, not very pleasing to look at. Let's move this a little bit to see what's happening. Okay, like that. So we can change the transition, select the mesh again, go into paint tool by using the smooth function here. And with the smooth function, just similar to the ZBrush, you can either paint over it or you just flood it. That also works. And then you might want to go to the next joint and then flood it there as well. And then maybe go to the upper arm, lower arm, sorry, and flood it. As you can see, the transition gets softer and softer. So, and here you have a twist that doesn't lose volume. Well, it will eventually lose volume, but much later. Actually, it doesn't, but it flips eventually. But that's already beyond the normal range of possible movements anyway. Okay, so that's basically it. Everything else is just basically going through every single joint and assigning values to it. Maybe have a little bit of a blurry transition here in the spine area, and you should be good. Have fun. One last thing is the mirroring of the weighting. So as you can see, I already fixed the arm here, but I haven't done that on the on the right hand side. So if I move this arm here, you see how the weighting is still not optimal. So to mirror this side from there to there, we have to get the character into rest position. Means all the controls need to be zeroed out. Okay, so this is the rest position. And then you go into the skin menu, mirror skin weights. We need to select the character, of course. We need to define the mirror plane, which is YZ. We mirror from the positive side of X, that's where the line goes to, that's the positive side, to the negative side, which is on the opposite side where the line is not. Everything else stays on the defaults, and we mirror. That's pretty much it. Just test it, and as you can see, immediately the arm is better, and also the twist that we painted has been transferred successfully. Okay, now you have everything you need to progress.